Making research relevant. Do you think CEOs think research is an important part of their decision-making process?
We really start with the business challenge in everything that we do. Research is merely a tool that helps us provide the missing pieces that we require to be able to answer the strategic piece. So HSBC has always focused on its business strategy, and then marketing has been there to realize the business strategy. And we use research to help marketing identify the problems and the opportunities and the gaps where they exist, and then come up with, again, marketing recommendations that work. So research is really the means to the end.
Well, historically, I think research vendors and research groups within marketing organizations have been very process focused. They've been very certain about things, and the outputs are very cut and dry. So you either do this or you don't. To have any ambiguity historically has indicated some level of uncertainty, and I think research people, myself included, tend to internalize that as weakness. If I could borrow a phrase from what I hear my military friends say about the fog of war, I think we need to be better at operating in this fog of ambiguity, because we're not in an environment anymore where answers are cut and dry, or where answers are even clear. There are hints at answers, but because there's so much data, and sometimes it's conflicting, ambiguity seems to be the rule. So having people operate in an environment of ambiguity is probably going to be one of the skills for the future. In the past, I would say that we were probably paralyzed by ambiguity. I just don't think we have a choice anymore. So understanding what types of skills allow us to be successful in that type of environment is really going to be important moving forward.
What we have to offer is primarily a strategic perspective. And as much as we can get people to understand that we probably have that perspective as well as, or maybe better than many of other people, we may at least be providing information that eventually gets to the boardroom. The challenge is that most of the people in between have some kind of less than strategic obligations or responsibilities. So in effect, what we're doing is providing projects to people who are either more tactically inclined or have a much smaller piece of the action that they're responsible for.
I think that the question is, how do we make them want to listen to us? How do we offer them something that is important to them? And the way that you go about doing that is to know a little bit about them, know what they truly care about, be appreciative of really how thoroughly they know their businesses, and then to try and know their business not as well, but closely, or as close as you can get to as well as they do, so that you are offering information that is actually germane and pertinent to the issues, to the crises, to the decisions that are in front of them. There are opportunities there, but they don't owe us that opportunity. We can't wait for them to come and say, oh my gosh, can you help me with this?
You have to have confidence and belief. If you have confidence and belief, you're going to get your point across, and the CEOs are in turn going to believe you. And I think a lot of that is paring away information that you don't need to bring to the table. Having the courage to have a point of view, I think, is really important. I think a lot of the time we hesitate. We are very much wanting to say, on the one hand this, on the other hand that. We need to have a point of view, tell a story with conviction.
The tools that I would use to make it impactful is, first of all, to be more holistic in the tools. So to think about, first of all, identify, is their style much more kind of quantitative? So do they feel comfort in having a lot of the numbers, but yet presenting the numbers, but providing a kind of qualitative aspect around the numbers too. So understanding the audience to say, here are your figures, but this is the way that consumers or shoppers are talking about what you're seeing in that chart there. So again, unlocking a bit of the creativity and the expression. And whenever possible, I'm quite keen to inject consumer language into a debrief or into a piece of learning. What I'm not a fan of is taking it back out of consumer speak, putting it into executive speak, and then having to develop marketing programs that put it back into consumer speak.
The amount of information the market research industry gets from the clients, the briefings are very short, and I know we want to move on, but I think to be better, have better understanding what's really going on their side, makes us better researchers, makes better research, bring better outcomes, and helps them more to implement it in their organization.
I mean, we have many tricks. We have many tricks in our toolbox to offset that, and I think that especially with the developments, I guess, in the last 10 years, we have lots of new methodologies, new technologies that we can do and use. So I think today we can uncover so many more truths and so much more insights than we could in the past. So I think it's getting better, so I'm very optimistic for the future.
First of all, trust research, and really use it in order not just to confirm decisions or to confirm that they are on the right track, but really to build a strategy with research and with consumers at the same time.
In the boardrooms, still the members ask to focus first on the numbers, but market research is not about numbers. And it just goes behind. It's just like, tell me the story behind. Tell me what the consumers are saying. I'm the first one to say I buy not because of any rational situation. I just buy emotion and I buy dreams. So in the first place, I would like products to tell me something.
The board can be influenced tremendously by focusing on the consumer and how the consumer reacts, because I think most boards understand that that's where eventually the business comes from.
Okay. And if I was trying to balance that out, is that because, I don't know, the research industry behave a little too much like scientists, and the purity of the data and the purity of the method are very important, whereas, you know, the board tend to be a bit more nakedly commercial about, you know, well, how are we going to make money and how do we make more of it?
Well, yes, you have to be concerned about the board with regard to science, the technology of research, and the minutia. They are interested really in the big picture, and that's something that you have to focus on. You will never get a question about the science or the technology. What they want to know is the answer and where's it going from a consumer point of view.
Well, I think that researchers should forget about technology and methodology, put that as an appendix of their report. The chief executive is not interested in a description of the methodology and technology. He will be interested in looking at that. After you hook him, after he or she is really fascinated by the findings, and then they may be intrigued. How did they do that?